are viewing the broadcast right now, and you see the name Nostromo on your screen, and above that, the Lost Watch. That's what this channel was more or less named after. Something that all of our friends, family can get together and post, stream live videos, and play pranks on each other. So this is where this was the catalyst, was this fleet from Star Trek Online. So I've had a couple of questions that people have been asking about why a bunch of name changes. Well, to be completely honest, we weren't exactly sure what to name it, so we went through a couple of names until we were sure, and then after that, excuse me. And after that, it was right in front of us the entire time, and we didn't realize it. So, you know, we were stupid when it comes to that part, but it worked out. And welcome all new viewers. If anybody has any questions or comments, feel free to post them. Let's get right into the huge news. For anybody that is a huge Star Trek fan, or even somewhat a casual Star Trek fan, if you caught the last episode of Picard on Paramount Plus, you notice, and spoiler alert, big time spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear the news, then mute your television for about 2 minutes. Because the big news is, apparently, Section 31 has a body of a former captain of the Enterprise. And after the camera scrolled down, it showed that camera, it revealed that the captain was James T. Kirk. And everybody knows he died in Generations, which pissed off a lot of Star Trek fans. They weren't happy with how it went down, and rightfully so, because it sucked. They dropped the first hint that he may be back. And time is definitely of the essence, because, you know, the man is, what, almost 93 years old, so he needs to start shooting his scenes fairly quickly. But that's great news. I mean, at least now we know that they have some form of plan for him moving forward, which I thought that was awesome. I am also joined today by my brother Tommy, is that someone, and a very good friend of mine, Timmy, Explosive Duck. Say hello, Timmy. It's allowed. There you go. So, Timmy, what's your opinion on the big reveal about Captain Kirk?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I loved watching TOS when I was a kid with my dad. It's really good to see him coming back to the big screen.
That's what every Star Trek fan has honestly been wanting, you know, since his death. You know, some kind of a reveal that he's coming back. Tommy, what's your reaction?
I definitely want Kirk to come back because he's my favorite captain. I just think it would have been better to just, like, undo Generations just outright. Like, all of the next generation.
That's not going to happen. You know that. I mean, Star Trek is the one thing that's always been built on what? Continuity. That's their big claim to fame. And they have spent countless hours and countless episodes of different shows fixing said continuity. I think it's awesome. They finally opened the door. He revealed back in January that he was open to returning to Star Trek in some form of capacity. And I thought this was really big on their part to extend that olive branch, so to speak. And I hope that he can take it. Yeah. Any thoughts?
Yeah, like he's starting to look his age too. So
I want to see how good you look when you're almost 93 years old.
I probably won't look that good.
That man was 40. That man was in his 40s when I was born, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, and he looks like he's in his 60s now.
Hey, that's pretty good. He looks 30 years younger. That's pretty good. That's impressive.
He's doing pretty well. I mean, he went to space a couple years ago too. So
yeah. Oh, he's like I keep seeing commercials for like some hearing aid thing he's doing, right?
Oh god, yeah. I mean, he's never said no to anything. I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, look at the commercial.
Bad.
I'm not to beat a dead horse, but he sat there and he just spoke the words of what's the song I'm thinking of now? I've already forgotten it. He did a whole album of music. Oh yeah, Rocket Man! Jesus Christ! How could you forget that? I mean, he sat there smoking a cigarette and drinking a glass of whiskey on the rocks, just with his Captain Kirk voice. It was fucking awesome. And he was so over back then in the 70s that people sat there for a 2-hour show of him just sitting there talking lyrics. And it was an album. He got paid.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane to me. It's just crazy how the man's never... And you know, and when you stop and you think about it, Leonard Nimoy was the same way. I mean, the only time he ever said no to doing anything was when it was Star Trek related, because he had that whole lawsuit with them with his copyright, with his likeness, and trademarking his likeness, and they've been using it left and right on all the merchandise, and he wanted royalties, and rightfully so. I would be pissed off too. But those two, man, I guarantee you, if Leonard Nimoy was still alive, the two of them could probably get together and do an underwear commercial. And they would sell the hell out of some underwear.
They would.
Because William Shatner may be almost 93 years old, but one thing that he is that nobody else his age is. Fucking cool. He's like the male Betty White. You know, everybody loves William Shatner. I mean, he's always been my favorite captain. Idol. And they always say don't meet your idols, because I've seen a lot of video on William Shatner meeting the public. He don't give autographs. He don't do autographs. He don't take pictures. So
pay him.
You damn right. So if you ever meet William Shatner, you better have your hand in your pocket, because you're going to be coming out with some cash if you want to get any kind of picture with him.
Yeah. God damn.
I mean, it sucks, but you know, I mean, that's, you know.
I had the money.
Oh God, me too. I swear to God, I would, man, I'd pony that money up super fucking fast for it too. Oh, look at the dumbass who doesn't. He doesn't have a nullifier. So everybody, check out the idiot dancing. Doesn't he look so sweet? So, out of the new Star Trek shows, a couple of episodes back, I brought up Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and I'm telling you right now, Timmy, that show, it's just like the OG Star Trek. It's episodic, like the original Star Trek was. There's no soap opera. Dude, it's smart science. It's got humor. I mean, you can tell a difference between Pike and Kirk. Because Kirk, man, everything was, I'll whip your ass. You know, Pike's not above fighting, but he's also, you know, he's got that Picard in him where he wants to think about the situation before he acts. Kirk was always, I'm just gonna whip your ass. I mean, that was the end all be all with Captain Kirk. I'm just gonna whip your ass.
Yeah, but are they going to have Pike become all like disillusioned and be like, I just want to retire? Because that's where.
Well, that's the thing too, man. Is they brought up a lot, because remember, he debuted in Discovery, and in this first season of Star Trek that I'm watching now on Blu-ray for the first time, I'm ashamed to say, because season 2 is already out, and it's been renewed for season 3, by the way. That's how well it's doing. That's
no,
the real
like
Star
that.
Trek. No, man, the real Star Trek fans are all. They haven't said anything bad about it, because you can't. I mean, it's just like the original Star Trek. I mean, I love it, dude. I can't speak highly enough about it. And they've also addressed the fact that how he's supposed to go out. Remember how when they brought him back, he was in that chair all you know, just deformed and fucked up. They've acknowledged that in this first season. And from that timeline, he says it's supposed to happen in 10 years. And the show is supposed to run for 5 years, because it's the 5-year mission that's supposed to go 5 years. I'm not finished with the first season, but it's either Kirk's father, or I'm almost certain it's his father that's a regular on the show. He's a lieutenant. But from what I understand, Captain Kirk is supposed to be making an appearance. Of course, it's not going to be William Shatner. You know, he's 93 years old, of course, but From what I understand, it's the dude that used to be in the Vampire Diaries. I don't remember his name, but he's supposed to be appearing as Captain Kirk. But so far, I don't have anything bad to say about the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Discovery, it's all right, man, but man, that show is a fucking soap opera. I mean, that's like watching Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Everyone hated Picard season 1 and 2 because they only had, guest stars here and there. They only had 7 more or less as a regular from the original cast, and I keep forgetting the other chick's name. But everyone's saying with Picard season 3 that, it's like a love letter to the Next Generation. That this is their send-off that they never got. They never got their send-off.
They did. They got, All Good Things. It was a great way to end the Next Generation.
Yeah, but as far as...
then they wouldn't have made movies.
That's what I'm trying to say, is they never had their send-off because their movies... Remember, that's why they killed Captain Kirk. Not a whole lot of people know this. That's why they killed William Shatner's Captain Kirk in Generations, is because Star Trek Next Generation was so hot, everyone was so positive that it was just gonna, just take in serious bank. That's why they killed this character off to move on to the Next Generation, because they figured they were just going to make a shit ton of movies over and over. And when the first movie didn't do that well as the original Star Trek movies did, they were a little panicked. Second one did very poorly, and the third one flat out tanked. So, oops. I mean, I think that's the only thing you could say at that point. But by that point, they had already burned their bridge with William Shatner, because they promised him the opportunity of coming back. And shit, 10 years after that went by, so he was like, fuck you. He was doing, I don't know, Jesus Christ, and one of the billion shows he's done since Star Trek.
Yeah. I remember hearing after Generations, I don't know.
But Next Generation, my point is Picard season 3 is supposed to be, their goodbye. It's supposed to be their swan song. Now, I admit I do not have Paramount Plus. I think it's a great app, but or network, whatever the hell you want to call it. But I've already got Disney. I've already got HBO Max. I've already got Peacock. I've got Netflix. So I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm pretty burnt out as far as what I'm going to be able to do as far as my viewing, and I'm still trying to catch up on season 1 of that. Mayor of Kingstown. And the only reason I bought that for Blu-ray is because Homeboy got run over by his own tractor. Remember Jeremy Renner? Did you guys not hear about that?
I don't remember. No, I didn't.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that was all over the news, man. He almost died. I mean, he's probably going to lose his leg, have to get a prosthetic leg. And I mean, that was like huge news. You heard about it, right, Timmy?
No, I didn't.
Jesus Christ, if it's not weed and alcohol, you two motherfuckers don't give a shit. I swear to God.
Well, that's not completely true. There are other things, just mostly booze.
I hear you. So, now, everyone's preachy, but I'm going to name off the Star Trek series. You guys let me know if you've ever watched them. If you're a fan, what's your favorite, what's your worst? Okay? We'll start with chronological order, which means Enterprise is first. I loved it. I love the fact that Scott Bakula was the first captain. I think that they played a little bit too much to the sex aspect, trying to make it racy for the younger viewers and shit, to take away from the actual science. That part of the show bothered me.
I think it played to the realism. I think it played the realism card in terms of that. Like, it is something that most definitely would happen, especially considering the younger version of Starfleet.
Well, yeah, I get that, but with T'Pol, Jolene Blaylock, she's the one that played T'Pol. First season, oh my God, she was the hottest, finest chick I have ever seen in my life. And then every season until season 4, the final season, she started to turn into a stick figure. I mean, it's like she went super anorexic. She had a perfect body. I don't know what the hell this woman was thinking. Maybe she was on drugs. I have no clue. But That was a great show. What was your opinion on it? You said you liked it, Tim. Tommy, what was your opinion on it? Good or bad? There is no in between.
Well, then I'm going to have to go with bad, but I didn't watch it. So, at the time, I was really into Star Trek, but I was really into the original series and Balance of Terror is my favorite episode. And
yeah, but it's all continuity, my friend. I mean,
episode.
How can you not watch Enterprise though and be a fan of the original Star Trek? I mean, it's the beginning.
Let me explain.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm thinking that they're probably going to end up screwing with that episode or some aspect of the original series, and that's like a big no for me. It's like you can't.
Well, they did that with the Tribbles in Deep Space Nine.
Well, that
played out perfectly. Okay, all right. So we got 2 goods for Enterprise, and we got 1 bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we move on to Discovery, which takes place in between OG and Enterprise. I like Discovery. I just don't like the soap opera bullshit to where every episode somebody wants to cry or is crying. I don't think I've ever seen a Discovery episode where somebody wasn't crying. But I mean, if those are the 2 big takeaways I just don't like about the show. But as far as being Star Trek special effects, I mean, I like it. Tim?
I like that it's a perfect mix between TOS and Enterprise. Like, it gives us what them 2 mixed looks like, because you have the design of the ships. I can clearly see Star Trek Enterprise and how the NX-01 look compared to these ships, even though it's in the future significantly. But it gives us a link between Enterprise and TOS, because when Enterprise came out, there was a very big gap between the 2, and you couldn't really visualize how the Federation and Starfleet proceeded from Enterprise to TOS. So it gives us a good perspective, and I really only ever watched like 2 episodes of Discovery, so a full-on analysis of it isn't really in my reach. But from what I've seen so far of it, I kind of like it. There's some things about it that make me be like, oh, what is that like? The
biggest problem that I think everybody that I know of that have watched it has a big problem with is the fact that Spock had a sister. They're like, fuck you. They're like, fuck you. No, that never fucking happened. That was the number 1 issue that everybody had with Discovery. All right. So, and what's your opinion on it, Tommy? It's another.
Absolutely
I don't like.
It.
Okay.
I've seen a fair amount of it, and I'm just like, it's poorly written. What he was saying about the way they're trying to bridge the gap between Enterprise and the original series.
Yeah, and they could do it with episodic storytelling, but they have to have that fucking soap opera.
Yeah, and there's so much time to go in between those 2 points in time in Trek history. They shouldn't be that close.
No, that's why they
ship design from Enterprise.
Shush! By the way. They warp. That's why they've had them change the timeline. They are now 1,000 years in the future from the timeline they originally
started like that.
Yes, they should have. But then again, she wouldn't have been a sister.
Well, too bad.
All right, so Discovery has 1 hate, 1 like, and 1 barely like on my end. Now, we go to Star Trek, the original series.
I don't think we have to vote on this.
Do we even have to vote on this?
If you don't like the original series, get the fuck out of here.
It is my favorite of all.
It was the epitome of Star Trek. It always will be the epitome of Star Trek. It was episodic. Every episode taught you a lesson. You learned something. I love it, and that will always be the measuring stick to every other Star Trek show that I watch. Because I remember when Next Generation. Oh, let me get to it. Speaking of which, the nice segue, because we got 3 loves. We don't even need a like. 3 loves for the OG. So now that's a good segue into the Next Generation, which I didn't even watch it at all. I never watched an episode. No, I'm not gonna lie. I watched the premiere. I watched about an hour and a half, about hour of the premiere, and I saw Dr. McCoy. I thought that was really cool. But then after that, I mean, it's just, I thought it sucked. And I didn't watch it again until about season 3. I tried, and I saw it was Spock. I thought anytime Spock made his appearance, I thought that was bad as fucking just awesome. But overall, I was never really a fan of the show, so I guess I'm just gonna have to say I don't like it.
Oh, wow.
Tommy?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. And the one thing I dislike about it is that it shows you how much better the original series would have been if they had like a full 5 seasons. Needed more episodes. Because that's 7 seasons,
Yeah, all right, I'll tell you what. I love Picard so much right now, and what they've done with that I'll change my not like to a like. So I'll go like. Tommy, what do you vote?
What about you, Mr. Tim?
For me, Generation was actually the first Star Trek that I ever watched.
Of course,
I got into it and I started asking my dad about it. My dad would show me the original series.
Yeah, the original series my mother and grandmother had me watching from birth.
Yeah. So, for me, it's childhood nostalgia, most likely. But in general, I really liked it, and the one thing I will say about it is it played a lot of its cards in the first episode, introducing Q and basically just showing
that was
us
Roddenberry's intent,
is
he wanted to give you a rapid assault just to show you how much better this Star Trek was. Because remember, he loved Next Generation, but he hated the original series. He didn't like William Shatner. He didn't get along too well with Leonard Nimoy. That's why he made it a point to insult William Shatner when he was on Johnny Carson, promoting the show, saying how Picard's a better captain, he's a smarter captain, and I mean, I was like, wow, holy shit, he's just completely fucking just dogging William Shatner on it, and then that was another reason why I didn't like the show when it first came out, is how he just fucking stuck that goddamn knife in, and he just turned it. I was like, Jesus Christ, you're just brutal, dude.
Yeah, Roddenberry was one of the worst enemies for the original.
Yeah, and he had his fucking lawyer following him around everywhere. His lawyer was like baby Hitler. I mean, that son of a bitch was. He would hide behind corners and record conversations before it was popular. I mean, Jesus Christ, that guy was crazy. All right, so Timmy, is that a like for Next Generation?
In general, yes, it's a like.
Okay, good. You both like it. I'm just gonna stick with my no like. So we've got so far. The series we've all named, they've all gotten likes so far. Let's move on to Deep Space Nine, which was the first non-Roddenberry inspired Star Trek because it had nothing to do with a captain as far as a starship or anything. It all took place on a space station. Some of the characters I thought were pretty cool. Some of the concepts were pretty cool, but overall, I just did not like that series at all. That's a non-like for me. Tommy?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of adventure stories, so them not going places was a big no for me. So I was like, no, screw this.
Yeah, they set the show up to where, it depended solely on the cast of characters they had, and I'm sad to say some of those characters just did not rise to the occasion. What's your opinion on it, Timmy?
In my opinion, it did something different than all the other Star Treks did, which is it gave.
They should have stuck to some kind of formula. I mean, it just made it seem like it was Star Wars in space.
It gave us like a
Star Wars and Star Trek space, I should say.
It gave us a better perspective of like, I guess, daily life in the galaxy for someone who's not Starfleet.
Who gives a shit about daily life in our own fucking lives? We're gonna be cared about daily lives of fucking aliens?
They tried something different and it didn't necessarily work out.
It sucked.
It could have been a good idea at the time had they like not stuck to one space station, but maybe went to
The smartest
multiple
thing
if
they
wanted
did
that.
was have crossovers with Next Generation.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was
I think
cool.
those
That was
were
one of the
best
first shows that did that shit. And other than that, like I said, I didn't really care for a lot of the acting in it. I didn't really care that it was, you know, just a space station stuck in space. So I'm just gonna vote hate it. Tommy?
Yeah, I hated it.
Timmy?
I'm gonna vote indifferent, but
There is no indifferent. You like it or you hate it. Okay, so that's the first one of the Star Trek shows.
I hate saying I hate
That's one of the first. That's the first Star Trek show in chronological order. We're going. That's somebody that we're all in agreement we do not like. Voyager. I thought the concept was awesome that they finally had the first female captain. About fucking time. Kudos. I thought that was a very smart move to go after what we have already done in the past. I thought that Janeway she played the character very well with integrity. She reminded me a little bit of Kirk and Picard with how she handled some situations. I like the fact that she didn't take shit. I love Seven. Oh my goodness. The fact that she came out of that show was just A+. If I have to vote on it as a whole, I think I'll go like.
All right. Well, I'm very mixed on it. I think overall I liked it. I only watched, I think, through halfway through season 5. I like the concept, and there's just some of the things, especially continuity-wise, like I think they could have done better. The writers were not talking with the writers from the rest of Star Trek, though. That's what happened there with that.
Yeah.
And definitely, you know, not only does it get my adventure, you know, things going, but it's also like you have Tuvok being Detective Tuvok here and there. I love detective stories, so that was really good. In the end, I think it was more good than bad.
All right, so that's a like.
Yeah.
All right, Timmy?
I think that they built the series in such a way that they had more wiggle room than they would have if it was just a regular Federation ship, and they most definitely took advantage of it. And I like the ingenuity it showed with each of the crew developing their own little starfighter with the shuttlecraft and being left to their own resources in what they did, so they had to be a little more liberal in their decision making. I think that it was a great show overall, and I had to vote that I like.
Okay, and that's it. That's it. All the shows are covered. Oh no, it's not. No, we never brought up. We forgot.
There has to be another one.
We forgot Picard.
I'm gonna go and say no, just on principle. I haven't seen it though, so
well,
I haven't seen it much.
All right, then you can't vote on it. If you haven't seen it, then you need to reserve your vote on it.
Yeah,
what about you, Timmy? Have you seen it?
I think Paul's the only one who's seen it.
Hey man, it's pretty good. I mean, season 2 was all about the Borg. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And time travel. I mean, fuck, you put the two together. I mean, it was awesome.
Totally go wrong with that.
Well, of course you're going to say that, but
yes,
I liked it.
Contact fucked things
and
up
I think
bad.
both you fucks need to watch Discovery in full before you voice an opinion, and also you definitely need to pick up Strange New Worlds. It's definitely worth it. I cannot promote that show enough. I think Jeffrey Hunter would have been happy with the performance of Anson Mount. I mean, he's Captain Pike now. That's it. I mean, that's how good that show is, man. You guys got to check it out.
All right.
And on that note, fellas, we will end this broadcast. I will see you guys next time. We will post a few shorts. Until then, everybody, goodbye from Paul here, Spirit Horse, Tim, Duck, and Tommy is that someone.
Yeah. See you next time.
Have a good one, everybody.